Once everything checks out, turn off the receiver, followed by the transmitter. When putting the transmitter antenna down, don't push it down from the top. Put it down one segment at a time to prevent binding and kinking the antenna mast. The TRX 2.5 engine is the result of over 2 years of focused engineering and thousands of hours of testing. It is vastly superior to typical engines, and it belongs in a category of specialty high-performance engines. The TRX 2.5 takes a total system approach. Each part of the engine, from the air filter to the exhaust tip, has been carefully engineered to work together with other engine components to achieve maximum engine output. We strongly discourage attempting to change or modify any part of the engine in order to gain more power. Old tech tips and tricks that may have worked in other brands of engines could seriously diminish the performance of this engine. The TRX 2.5 is already the most powerful engine in its class and simply will not benefit from low-tech aftermarket bolt-on performance parts. Next, let's talk about engine break-in. The TRX 2.5 uses ringless aluminum brass and chrome piston and sleeve construction. This type of engine design relies on the running fit of the piston inside the sleeve for cylinder sealing. Engine break-in is necessary to allow the piston and the sleeve to develop an extremely precise fit and achieve optimum cylinder sealing. The most important thing you can do to make sure your TRX 2.5 engine generates as much power as possible is to break it in properly. If you don't break in your engine, you could end up with a weak, damaged, or otherwise poorly performing engine. The Traxxas break-in procedure used here has been extensively tested and proven to yield better performing engines than other common break-in methods. Make sure you read and understand the break-in procedure outlined in your operating instructions before you start your engine the first time. You don't need to use special break-in fuels. Traxxas top fuel should be used to ensure correct engine lubrication, highest performance, and ease of tuning. For most applications, use fuel with 10% or 20% nitro. Use the same percentage all the time. If you break in the engine on 20% fuel, then run 20% fuel every day. Do not switch back and forth between 10% and 20% fuel. To get fuel in your model's fuel tank, you'll need a fuel dispenser like this fuel bottle made by Traxxas. When you're using the fuel, make sure you read and follow all the safety precautions printed on the fuel can and in your operating instructions. Fuel can be dangerous if it's handled incorrectly or misused in any way. To fill the bottle, just squeeze it tightly and put the tip into the fuel can. When you release it, the bottle will expand and fill with fuel. I'm going to squeeze the excess air out and put a little more fuel in the bottle. Once the fuel dispenser is full, don't forget to put the lid back on the fuel can. The alcohol component in the fuel attracts moisture that can contaminate the fuel and cause problems with your engine, robbing it of power and making it extremely difficult to start. Now, let's go ahead and put fuel in our model. Simply lift the flip-top cap. Put the tip of the fuel dispenser into the filler neck and squeeze. Fill the tank right up to the bottom of the filler neck. Make sure the lid snaps back good and tight. The rubber seal on the fuel tank lid can be adjusted by tightening this screw underneath the cap. Try it if you notice any leaks or other indications that the fuel cap is not closing securely. Also, be sure to cap off the remaining fuel in your fuel dispenser. It does not take long for the alcohol to evaporate or the fuel to become contaminated. Here's another tip for you. The small slot in the end of the fuel tank cap is there to hold a single small tie wrap. Simply slide the small tie wrap through the opening and you've got a convenient handle to open the fuel tank lid with the body on the vehicle. The Traxxas Easy Start 2 brings the convenience of push-button electric engine starting to your Nitro model. The Easy Start system consists of a handheld control unit and an onboard motorized starter. The handheld unit uses Smart Start technology to monitor the condition of the system and detect failures that could keep your engine from starting. Power for the Easy Start system comes from a 7.2 volt rechargeable NiCad battery pack installed in the handheld control unit. To install the battery, Press the tab in the end of the battery compartment door and slide the back off. Plug the battery into the connector. Insert a fully charged 7.2 volt NiCad battery pack. Now slide the battery compartment door back into place. The glow plug in the engine is automatically heated by the Easy Start system when the button is pushed. This eliminates the need to carry a separate glow plug igniter. To use the Easy Start on our T-Max, plug it into the 4-prong receptacle in the center of the pickup bed. In the Nitro 4Tech, the Easy Start plugs into the receptacle just ahead of the rear wing. On Revo, the Easy Start plugs into the receptacle located on the truck bed. On the Nitro Rustler, the Easy Start plugs into the rear of the vehicle. Our Nitro Rustler here doesn't have any fuel in it, so we'll use it to show you how the Easy Start monitors itself. There are two status indicator LEDs on the handheld control unit, the motor LED and the glow plug LED. Both LEDs should light green when starting. If either LED is off, there is a fault indicated with that function. If the motor LED doesn't light and the starter fails to operate, then the Easy Start system is in protection mode. The new Easy Start controller contains circuitry that monitors the load being placed on the Easy Start motor. If the load becomes excessive, the Easy Start system shuts off power to the motor, preventing costly damage to the motor or to the controller. This might happen, for example, when an engine becomes flooded with fuel while trying to start it. The starter spins at first, and as the engine gradually locks up due to excessive fuel in the combustion chamber, the starter motor slows under the heavier load. This causes the protection circuit to shut off power to the motor to prevent it from burning up. We'll show you how to clear a flooded engine later in the program. The carburetor on the TRX 2.5 performs several very important functions. It controls the engine's speed by restricting the intake of air and fuel into the engine. It atomizes the fuel and also controls the air-fuel ratio of the mixture entering the engine. This mixture must have the right ratio of fuel and air for combustion to take place. The engine's performance is directly linked to the fuel mixture. Richening the fuel mixture increases the amount of fuel in the air-fuel mixture ratio. And leaning the fuel mixture decreases the amount of fuel in the air-fuel mixture ratio. Leaner fuel mixtures deliver stronger, more efficient combustion and more power. Richer fuel mixtures deliver cooler running and more lubrication, but less power. Tuning your engine means finding that perfect balance between the power to meet your needs and good lubrication for long engine life. The fuel mixtures are preset at the Traxxas factory to typical break-in settings. Don't readjust your carburetor from the factory settings until after the engine is started and running, and until you're able to assess what minor adjustments may be required to compensate for fuel, temperature, and altitude. We'll talk more about that when we head outside to run our model. Finally, let's take a look at the idle speed screw. Use your standard screwdriver to adjust the idle speed. Turn it counterclockwise to decrease the engine's idle speed. Before we go outside and start up the engine, I want to give you an overview of the engine break-in process. Now, the break-in procedure will take about 1 to 2 hours and take 5 tanks of fuel. The main focus of the break-in procedure is to vary and limit your speed during the first few tanks of fuel. Limit your top speed. Don't run the engine at a constant speed, and don't give the engine full throttle. Now, since you shouldn't accelerate hard or build speed while breaking in your engine, this isn't the time to impress your friends with your new model. There'll be plenty of time for that later. The engine will seem fast even from the start, so it'll be tempting for you to go for it. But wait until the engine's fully broken in first. Patience and careful attention during the break-in process will reward you with the best performing TRX 2.5 possible. During the break-in period, your engine may seem to malfunction with symptoms such as stalling and inconsistent performance that are most likely caused by fouled glow plugs. Deposits from the engine form on the glow plug and cause it to fail. Don't be discouraged. These are simply the normal break-in pains every new engine has to go through.